Is America in decline? Today, I'm going to answer that question the best way I can using facts, common sense, and the hard truth that a lot of people either ignore or are afraid to say out loud. By the end of this episode, you may be concerned. You may disagree with me. That's fine. But I think it's going to make you stop and think about what you've been told and what's actually really going on. Welcome to the Joe Rossano Show. Subject, folks, of our investigation today, again, is America in decline? Now, before I get started, please click the subscribe button. Please hit like, share, comment, click the notification bell for all the latest episodes of The Joe Rossano Show. Gone, folks, are the days when America set the pace for the entire world. In 1969, two brave American astronauts, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, walked on the moon. Speaking of moonwalking, Michael Jackson's Thriller, you guys remember that? Became the biggest selling album in the history of the planet Earth. The Sears Tower was once the tallest building in the world. Americans Dick Rutan and Gina Yeager flew around the world nonstop without refueling. There was a time when America didn't just participate in history. By golly, America made history, folks. Gone are the days when dad could work, mom could stay home with the kids, and somehow a family could still afford McDonald's. They could have an Atari, groceries in the refrigerator, and maybe even take a vacation once in a while. Gone are the days when kids played outside until the street lights came on, and that was the signal to go home. Today, everything feels harder. It's harder to buy a home, harder to feed your family, harder to fill your gas tank, harder to believe that the next generation is going to have it better than the one before it. And people wonder why so many Americans believe this country is in decline. The middle class, you remember that? Which used to be the backbone of the United States, is shrinking. Basic kitchen table necessities cost too much money. Gas, groceries, healthcare has spun out of control. Housing, all of it is out of control. And the country itself is completely divided. We have one side despises the other, and the other side despises them right back. Democrats and Republicans used to disagree. Now they act like enemies. And even when they do agree, they don't admit it because admitting it would make the other side look weak. It's not healthy, folks. It's not strength, it's decline. Think about this. Fast forward a little bit. From 2021 to 2025, the Biden administration allowed millions of illegal migrants into the United States. I'll be conservative, no pun intended, and say about 10 million. That cost the American taxpayers an enormous amount of money, about $1 trillion. Now, let me be clear, okay? There are many people here illegally who are very nice people, hardworking people, doing jobs some say Americans just won't do. I understand that. But you also have to talk about the other side of it. What about Lake and Riley? What about the crime, the drugs, the burden on our schools, hospitals, cities, and the taxpayers? You can't have a serious conversation about America's future if you refuse to talk about what uncontrolled immigration did to the United States. Now, we're going to fast forward to the here and now. Let's talk about the Strait of Hormuz. Most Americans don't sit around thinking about shipping lanes and waterways. They don't care about the Strait of Hormuz. They care about what it costs to fill up their car. They care about what groceries cost. They care about whether they can afford to go to work, take a vacation, or just simply feed their family. But here's the problem. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the fuel lines of the entire world. Said it before, 20% of the world's oil moves through that strait, and fertilizer, quite a bit of fertilizer for our food moves through that strait. When that waterway is threatened, blocked, or shut down, oil prices, they spike. Gas prices, $4.50 as of this recording. Shipping costs spike. Airline fuel, if you want to go on vacation, that's too expensive now. It's too expensive to fly. And then everything else gets expensive. Food, travel, Groceries, businesses get more expensive, and it doesn't stop there. As I mentioned, fertilizer is also a part of this story. If fertilizer costs rise, guess what, folks? Food cost rises. That means the pain eventually lands right on the kitchen table of the American family. This is how global chaos turns into kitchen table pain. Businesses, they get hit twice. First, their costs go up. Their fuel, their shipping, their production, supplies, etc. Second, their customers have less money to spend because they're already getting crushed by gas, groceries, and bills. So businesses pay more to produce the product. And the people who would buy the product can't afford the product. Sounds like decline to me. Put in the comments if you think I'm wrong. And here's where I have to say something about President Trump. President Trump told us in the campaign gas was going to be cheap. He told us there would be no more wars. He was going to settle all the wars, especially in the Middle East. He told us food prices would come down. He told us Ukraine would be handled. Some of those things, I regret to say, Mr. President, have not turned out to be true, sir. And I'm disappointed. All the people who supported President Trump because they didn't want another Iraq, they didn't want another Afghanistan, they wanted peace through strength. They didn't want endless wars in the Middle East. And now we are once again dealing with the Middle East. Rising fuel costs, rising food costs, rising shipping costs, and American families paying the price. Brings me to China. Pay very close attention. This is the part that I said may concern you. This is the part that may make you stop and think. I don't think people are talking about this enough. While America is tied up in the Middle East, China's watching. China's building its military. China is building ships. China is building infrastructure, stockpiling weapons, expanding its power in the South China Sea. China is creating artificial islands that are basically military installations. Let's call it what it is. China's doing all of this while America's firing missiles, using resources, deploying personnel, and getting dragged back into another Middle East crisis. Here's the brutal difference. America fires shots, China stockpiles. America reacts, China plans. America gets pulled into chaos, China waits. And the thing China cares about most, dramatic pause, Taiwan. Not Iran, not our speeches, not our partnership, not the public relations. Taiwan. When President Trump met with Xi Jinping, the only thing the Chinese president really cared about was Taiwan. He wants to know one thing. If Taiwan gets attacked, if China moves on Taiwan, will America defend it? But China may not invade Taiwan first. They may blockade it. And that could be devastating. Why? Because Taiwan is the brain of the modern economy. The United States may design many of these advanced chips, these semiconductors that we hear about, and not many of us know exactly what they are or what they do. But Taiwan manufactures a huge share. The most advanced semiconductor chips on the planet Earth are built in Taiwan. And these chips power AI, phones, cars, computers, defense systems, power cloud servers. They power cameras, microphones, streaming platforms, data centers, and almost every piece of modern technology we use today. If China not attacks Taiwan, blockades Taiwan, America could lose access to the chips that power modern life, our lives, our everyday lives, this microphone, this camera, these lights, everything. That means companies would have to start making brutal decisions. Keep this in mind. They have to decide, do we keep making cell phones? Do we slow down car production? Do we prioritize these chips that we do have left for military needs? Do we delay consumer electronics? Do we pause certain technology products? How long before inventories run out? That is not some fantasy problem, folks. That is a real national security problem. And now think about this nightmare scenario. Strait of Hormuz is blocked, threatening energy and food prices. If Taiwan is blockaded, threatening chips and technology. One choke point hits the fuel of the economy, the other hits the brain of the economy. That is what decline looks like. Not always instant collapse. Sometimes it's slow pressure from every direction. Gas becomes unaffordable. Food becomes unaffordable. Business can't sell its products. Families can't keep up. Technology supply chains start to crack. And America realized that strength without independence is nothing short, dear friends, of vulnerability. America's still powerful, but if we can't control our energy cost, if we can't control our supply chains, we can't protect the middle class, we can't manufacture the things that run our very own economy, we have a serious problem. So, yes, I regret to say America does appear to be in decline. Now, you may disagree with me, and I hope you're right. I really do. In this one particular case, folks, I want to be wrong. But we have taken our eyes off of too many balls, no pun intended again. We've taken our eye off the border. We've taken our eye off the middle class. We've taken our eye off energy. We have taken our eye off China. And someday, somewhere, somehow, you know the old saying, folks, the chickens are going to come home to roost. As always, appreciate you hanging out with your pal, Joe Rossano. I wish I had better news today. I wish this could be just a bit more of a cheerful report. But we're honest here and we do the facts here. Please, folks, I always ask if you get the opportunity and you can afford it, please don't forget to adopt yourself a pet. As always, my dearest friends and fellow Americans, I say God bless you, and we will see you next time.